Have you ever been through this? You fast very seriously. A strict 16 hours every single day. No snacking, no cheating, even feeling a little proud of your self-control. Then 3 weeks later, you step on the scale with a small flicker of hope, and the number has gone up. Not muscle, fat, especially belly fat. That moment makes many people start doubting their own body, doubting their age, doubting their metabolism, wondering if maybe they're just not built for fasting. But the truth is more uncomfortable, and at the same time, more relieving. Your body isn't betraying you. It's protecting you from the signals you're unknowingly sending it every day. Intermittent fasting is not a simple eating schedule. It's an extremely sensitive game of biological signaling, where hormones are in charge, not calories. You can eat very little, fast for a very long time, and still push your body into a survival emergency state, as if a famine has arrived. When the body believes a famine is happening, it doesn't burn fat. It stores fat to stay alive, and it's willing to sacrifice the most expensive tissue you have, muscle. The irony is that many people end up in this state not because they eat wildly wrong, but because of tiny, everyday details that feel completely harmless. Let's start with the morning, where most people believe they're doing everything right. You wake up, you don't eat, you just drink coffee. But because you feel uncomfortable, hollow, irritable, you add a splash of plant milk, chew a piece of gum, or drink a 0-calorie soda. It sounds innocent, but to your body, that's a very clear message. Food is coming. Your brain tastes sweetness, even without real energy, and immediately triggers insulin. In that moment, every fat-burning door slams shut. You're still hungry, still enduring, still fasting, but hormonally, you're in a fed state. That's why so many people find fasting miserable and unproductive at the same time. They're paying the full price without receiving the biological benefit. Now imagine you make it through the morning perfectly, and at noon, you open your eating window with a very common mindset. I've fasted so long, I deserve a big hit. So bread, sweet cereal, fruit smoothies, or a carb-heavy meal appears. After 16 hours of fasting, your cells are like a bone-dry sponge, extremely sensitive. When you blast them with a flood of sugar, blood glucose doesn't rise gently. It spikes, insulin panics, and the body has only one safe option: shove that energy straight into fat. 2 hours later, you're tired, hungry, foggy, and confused about why you want to eat again so soon. This isn't weak willpower. It's biology in shock. But the reason many people over 40 struggle with fasting lies somewhere else, quieter and more dangerous: stress. Fasting itself is a mild, beneficial stress. But when you stack it on top of an already stressful life, poor sleep, work pressure, and heavy caffeine intake, cortisol stops being adaptive and becomes a survival signal. When cortisol stays chronically high, the liver is ordered to produce glucose at all costs, even if that means breaking down muscle tissue. So you're not eating, yet your blood sugar still rises, insulin is still released, belly fat is still protected, and your limbs slowly soften. That skinny fat look is born from this exact paradox. And when results don't appear, many people choose the most dangerous path of all: eating even less. 800 calories, 600 calories. The body isn't stupid. When energy is restricted for too long, it turns the entire metabolic system down. You feel colder, more tired, less alive. Your metabolism slows, fat burning drops. This isn't not enough discipline. This is an ancient survival mechanism functioning perfectly. Done correctly, fasting doesn't scare the body. It creates a biological silence that allows cleaning, recycling, and repair through autophagy. But that silence only matters if you respect it with the quality of the food that follows. When you dump ultra-processed foods, industrial oils, and inflammatory meals into a digestive system that's just recovered, the body responds with inflammation and water retention. The scale goes up. You feel heavier. Your head feels dull, and you assume fasting doesn't work. What very few people say directly is this: Fasting is not an act of endurance. It's a language you use to communicate with your body. When the signal is right, the body opens fat stores, preserves muscle, clears the brain, and delivers steady energy all day. When the signal is wrong, the body closes down, stores, and defends. The difference isn't how long you fast. It's whether your body feels safe. Ask yourself one simple question. When you fast, do you feel calm and clear, or tense and wired like a stretched cable? If it's the latter, that's not energy. That's adrenaline. And what needs fixing isn't discipline. It's the signal. Fasting isn't about punishing what you ate yesterday. It's about preparing your body for a healthier tomorrow. When you understand that, you stop fighting your body. You start working with it. And that's when everything changes. There are a few critical pieces that many people who fast on schedule but against biology are never clearly told about. If you don't touch these pieces, you can do everything almost right for an entire year, and your body still won't cooperate. This isn't your fault. It's because the human body doesn't run on checklists. It runs on overall biological context. The first thing almost no one pays attention to is circadian rhythm, especially sleep. Fasting during the day but going to bed late, sleeping in fragments, or scrolling on your phone until midnight completely disrupts the hormone signals of the following day. When sleep is short or misaligned, morning cortisol is already elevated. Insulin sensitivity is worse, and the body starts the day in a defensive state. In that condition, even if you fast by the book, the body still reads the signal as danger. That's why some people fast very strictly yet wake up tired, tense, with a racing heart. Fasting isn't wrong. It's fasting layered on top of a dysregulated biological foundation. The second issue is electrolytes and water, which sounds minor but has a massive impact. During fasting, low insulin causes the kidneys to excrete more sodium, pulling water and minerals with it. If you only drink plain water without replacing sodium, potassium, and magnesium, the body misinterprets this as stress. The result is dizziness, trembling, a racing heart, anxiety, and another cortisol spike. Many people think they aren't built for fasting, when in reality, they're simply deficient in biological salt, not lacking willpower. The third piece is protein, but not in the usual how many grams sense. What matters is the leucine threshold, the signal that turns on muscle protein synthesis. If the post-fast meal is too low in high-quality protein, the body never receives a clear muscle preservation signal, especially in middle age. Over time, fasting can lead to more muscle loss than expected, not because fasting is harmful, but because the recovery signal is too weak. That's why some people get thinner but weaker. Belly fat stays, and their physique never firms up. Another rarely discussed factor is exercise timing. Heavy, high-intensity training while fasting, especially in the morning under high stress, can drive cortisol even higher and backfire. In contrast, rhythmic, steady movement like gentle walking, deep breathing, or mobility work sends powerful safety signals to the nervous system. Fasting doesn't need you to attack the body. It needs you to calm the body so metabolism is allowed to happen. And finally, a truth many people don't want to hear. Fasting isn't appropriate for every stage of life, especially for women with hormonal disruption, chronic stress, or deep energy depletion. In these cases, stabilizing circadian rhythm, eating enough, sleeping enough, and lowering stress before fasting often produces far better results than forcing the body into rigid fasting windows. The core takeaway is simple, yet very different from how most people think. Fasting isn't a technique to force fat out. It's a signal that tells the body it's safe enough to let fat go. When sleep is adequate, electrolytes are stable, protein reaches the right threshold, stress is reduced, and movement follows the right rhythm. Fasting becomes a powerful tool. When those elements are missing, fasting becomes just another stressor. If you're starting to realize that the problem isn't a lack of discipline, but a lack of understanding how the body reads signals, you're not alone. This channel exists for exactly that reason. To explain biology in everyday language, so you no longer have to fight your own body. If this helped you understand your body more clearly, hit subscribe so we can keep unpacking the small but critical pieces of metabolic health, hormones, and energy. Leave a comment about what confuses you most about fasting, because that may be the topic of the next video. Here, we're not trying to try harder. We're trying to do it right. Before this video ends, I want you to hold on to one single truth. Not to memorize it better, but to stop blaming yourself every time fasting doesn't deliver the results you expected. Your body is not working against you. It is simply responding precisely to the signals you send it every day. When you understand that, the entire story of fasting changes, from a stressful battle into a process of cooperation that is clear and fair. If you look back at everything we've just covered, there is one consistent thread. Fasting failure rarely comes from eating too much wrong food, but far more often from placing fasting on top of an unstable biological foundation. Poor sleep, chronic stress, electrolyte imbalance, meals that lack recovery signals, movement done at the wrong rhythm. Each factor alone may seem small, but when they stack together, the body reads the entire context as a threat. And when biology senses danger, it doesn't burn fat. It stores fat. It sacrifices muscle. It locks energy down to survive. There is nothing personal about this. It's ancient programming that kept humans alive for tens of thousands of years. The key point is this. You don't need to fast harder. You don't need to fast longer, eat less, or push discipline until exhaustion. What you need is to fix the signal. When sleep becomes stable, when mornings are no longer an adrenaline fight, when the first meal sends a message of muscle preservation and energy safety, when movement becomes calming rather than stimulating, the body automatically opens its fat stores. No forcing, no convincing. It simply does what it was designed to do. Once you understand this, you stop judging fasting by the number on the scale every morning. You begin paying attention to signals that are far subtler, but far more honest. Is your energy more stable? Is your mind clearer? Is hunger less frantic? Does your sense of control over your life return? These are the first signs that your metabolic system is recovering. Belly fat is always the last to leave, and it only leaves when the body believes it is no longer necessary. You may have heard advice like, push a little harder, be more disciplined, or don't blame the method if you're weak. But biology doesn't operate on morality. It operates on signals. And when you change the way you send signals, the body changes how it responds. Without blame, without punishment. This is the part many people are never clearly taught, which is why they assume the problem is themselves. If there is one message I want you to carry with you after this video, it's this. Fasting is not a test of willpower. It is a biological language. When you speak it incorrectly, the body misunderstands. When you speak it correctly, the body cooperates in remarkable ways. And trust me, your body is very good at cooperating when it feels safe. If you've ever felt disappointed, given up, or believed that you're not built for fasting or any method at all, give yourself a chance to look at the problem through a biological lens, not a judgmental one. This channel exists for that exact reason. To break down complex bodily mechanisms into principles you can understand, so you no longer have to fight yourself on your health journey. If this content helps you understand your body more clearly, hit subscribe so we can continue exploring the topics few people talk about, but that truly determine results. And if you'd like, leave a comment sharing what insight from today's video made something finally click for you. Not to argue right or wrong, but so we can learn to listen to our biology better together. Here, we don't chase extremes. We build sustainable health, one signal at a time.